morning everybody. So today I will conduct a simple experiment just to demonstrate to you how to investigate the calorific value in food sample. Okay, so for your info, this experiment is one of the experiments that you are supposed to do in chapter 9. Chapter 9 is about nutrition and food digestion. Okay, so one of the experiments is to study the energy value of food sample. So if you have your textbook with you, or if later if you refer to your textbook, this experiment will be on page 156, experiment 9.4. Okay, alright, so before we start with the experiment, I will brief a bit to you what are some materials and apparatus that we need for this experiment. Okay, so the material we need in this experiment is the food sample, right? So for this one, the food sample that we need, that I'm using, is groundnut. So this is groundnut. You can use any other nuts that if you want to, let's say like cashew nut or almond or any nuts. Why nuts? Because nut normally easily it easily burns down in lab, right? Okay, so material is the groundnut, and then other apparatus adalah this is the measuring cylinder. This one is boiling tube. We need a pin also. This is a long pin, about 5 to 6 cm of pin. Okay, Bunsen burner, thermometer, right? Cotton wool. So this is the matches, and this is plasticine because later we want to stick the pin on the retort stand here. And this is the retort stand, and also we also need an electronic balance, okay, to weigh the food sample. Okay, alright. And one more. This one is the windshield. Okay, windshield. Later I will explain to you some of the precaution steps that you should follow when you do this experiment to get the result, more accurate result, right? Okay, so the first step, we must weigh the mass of the groundnut. Okay, weigh using the electronic balance. So I have my electronic balance here. Everything that you get the data, okay, the reading you get from this experiment, you must record, because later we want to calculate the calorific value. We need to use all these readings into a formula so that we can calculate, right? Okay, so the mass of my groundnut here is 0.56. Okay, and then what we should do, the second step, if you refer to your textbook, measure 20 ml of distilled water in the measuring cylinder. So you use your measuring cylinder. Okay, so 20 ml of this, this is tap water. I should use distilled water. Okay, next, step number 3, clamp the boiling tube to the retort stand and put in the thermometer. So this is boiling tube, clamp to the retort stand. So this is the retort stand, clamp it. Okay, next, fix the position of the thermometer using cotton wool. Alright, so the 20 ml of water, distilled water you measured just now, so you pour in this boiling tube. Okay, and then you have to set the thermometer, put into the use cotton wool so that the thermometer will fit nicely into the boiling tube. Okay. Then take the reading of the thermometer, because in the formula we need to see the difference after we burn the groundnut and the temperature of the water before we burn the groundnut and after we burn the groundnut. Okay, so at the beginning you should take the temperature of the thermometer first. So the temperature of the thermometer here is around the nut on the needle and hold the needle upright using plasticine. Okay, so the groundnut just now, we must prick the groundnut on the pin. Okay, in this upright position, and take some plasticine to hold the pin. Alright, like this. Now you have set up the material and apparatus like this. First, you must make sure that the thermometer does not touch the bottom of the boiling tube. Yeah, because we just want to get the temperature, the absorption of the temperature from the water, not from this boiling tube. And the second one, to make sure or to reduce, to make this experiment more accurate, and to prevent the heat loss more to the environment. Second precaution step, we must clamp. Make sure the bottom of the boiling tube is as close as possible to the groundnut. Okay, so later when we burn, the heat will be released, or will be absorbed by the water in the boiling tube. So if it's too far, more of the heat will be scattered to the surrounding. Right. Okay, so this one is windshield. To make sure that the wind does not affect this experiment, we must shield this hole. Experiment. Alright, so now let's light the groundnut. Okay. You don't bring the Bunsen burner to the groundnut. You bring the groundnut to the Bunsen burner. Okay? Because sometimes in lab, I always see students, when they want to ignite flame for any experiment, they bring this Bunsen burner to the, it's wrong. It's wrong. Okay, so what we do, we bring this groundnut. Wait until the nut burn, the whole nut completely burn. Okay, while doing this, we should slowly stir this, okay, slowly, so that the heat released by the nut will be absorbed by the water. So we should stir the water slowly, so the heat will spread uniformly in the water. Okay, almost done. Okay, now it's done. The whole peanut burn already. Now we measure. Now we get the reading, the final reading of the thermometer. What I can see here, the final reading for the thermometer is 54 degrees. 54 degrees. Right. So that's all about the experiment. So we have all the data that you need for this experiment. First, just now, the volume of distilled water we use about 20 ml. The second data we need, the initial reading of the thermometer, just now around 31 degrees Celsius. The third reading, the mass of the peanut that we use, around 0.36 gram if I'm not mistaken. And the last one is the final temperature of the thermometer. Okay, so around 34, 35 degree, 54, 55 degrees Celsius, like that. So using all these reading, we will later use this formula, yeah, to calculate the calorific value of the food sample. Okay, so that's how we get the energy value in food sample. Okay, so for this experiment, like what I mentioned at the beginning of this session just now, there are a few precaution steps that you can follow so that you will get more accurate reading. The first one, actually, when you measure, when you weigh the mass of the food sample you use, get an average mass. Okay, measure a few times so that you will get average, so your reading will be more accurate. The second one, okay, make sure to place this burning peanut as close as possible to the bottom of the boiling tube, so the heat released from the combustion will fully be absorbed by the water in the boiling tube. It will not be really escape more to the environment. Okay. Second, third, if possible, please use this windshield so that it will protect your setup of materials and apparatus from being affected from the wind. Okay. Next, when you do this experiment, okay, while the peanut is burning down there, you should slowly stir this thermometer. Why stir? We stir so that because the heat first will spread at the bottom of the boiling tube, so we stir so that the heat will uniformly spread in the water, so the thermometer will record it more uniform, right? Okay. So I think, yeah, that's all for this experiment today. Thank you.